Section E, SS 7. There are 5 questions to this scenario. First question. Globex Corporation is a multinational construction company based in Istanbul, Turkey. The company operates primarily in Turkey. It's a Turkish company, Eurasia and the Middle East region. So basically it's a Turkish company. It also operates in Eurasia and Middle Eastern region. The management team is considering 2 newly mutually exclusive projects. New mutually exclusive projects, which means either this project or this, not both. The first project involves a giant construction project of a bridge that crosses the Bosphorus Strait in Istanbul. The firm would be a subcontractor and would build only the part of the motorway that will connect the bridge to a main motorway system in the Asia side of Istanbul. Turkey is in between Europe and Asia. It connects both continents. Okay, so this is the first project in which you will be a subcontractor and you will do a part of the larger project. Okay. The second investment option is in a construction project of a sports center in Qatar that will be used for the FIFA World Cup. The project is a high-profile project and the firm can gain a significant reputation if the project is successful. Both projects require 80 million initial investment for the investors of the firm, and their IRR and payback periods are shown below. Bridge projects IRR is 18.2, the payback is 5 years. Sports centers in Qatar is 25.5% IRR, payback is 3. Okay, nothing else is given. The planned completion date for the bridge project is May year 1, and for the sports center the completion date is December year 3. Of course, one is 2 years ahead of other. The sports center project also requires 1 million of additional working capital in the short term. The hurdle rate at which the projects are discounted, that is 10%. Okay, that's the scenario, simple one, no complex information is given. Define working capital and discuss the effects of both projects on the working capital. Working capital is investment in account receivables, inventory, cash and bank that is needed for the execution of the project. Basically, it's the liquidity available to a firm. Working capital is operating liquidity available to a firm for a particular project. That's the definition. Done. Point by point. Discuss the effect of both projects on the firm's working capital. If you go back to the scenario, you will see that the first project requires an outflow of $1 million, if I remember this one. The sports center, the second project in fact. The second project, the one that involves construction of a sports center in Qatar, it requires 1 million of additional working capital in short term. Whereas this project where you are acting as a subcontractor, there is no detail given, hence we can assume that it doesn't require any working capital investment. So 1 million is needed for the sports center's construction and none apparently from the information for subcontractor. So this would be included in your responses. The sports center's project will require 1 million cash expense in short term, and this will affect the working capital of the firms negatively, means you need it at the start of the project. 80 million is the construction cost, plus you need 1 million as investment in working capital. Total investment needed for sports center is 81 million at the start of the project. The second bridge project does not require significant cash expense, or rather no information is given. So we can say it doesn't require any investment or it doesn't affect your working capital negatively. You just need 80 million at the start of the project. Just these 3 lines defining and then explaining these 2 projects with regard to working capital, sufficient. Nothing else needs to be given. Next, define political risk. First you need to define what is political risk, 1, and discuss the political risk for both projects and how a firm would mitigate these risks. Remember, you have to split down the requirements of the question and give what is needed. There are points to each requirement. So just don't define and go to the last point. You have to discuss all these 3 briefly. Do not overdo, just briefly what's required. So when I say define political risk means it's the possibility of changes in the return of an investment because there might be changes in government. The first part will involve defining political risk. So political risk is the risk of changes in return because of changes in government legislation, any military coup, any governmental change. There might be change in government also. A change in government can also put your project in danger. So change in legislation, any military coup, change in government itself, any riot that could put the project in danger, this is political risk. Right? So the first part is done. Second is discuss political risk for both projects. Now, we have two projects. One is in Turkey, where you are working as a subcontractor, and other is in Qatar, where you will be involved in constructing a sports center. Since you are Turkish, this is a project in the same country where your company is based. So this project will have likely low risk. Same currency, workers, same regime where you're working, stable economy. So there's less, I won't say no political risk, but comparatively less because it's your home country. But sports center in Qatar, it has high political risk. Why? Because you are operating in a foreign country. One. Two, there's a high risk of government taking over because it's a government that is not your local government that will see as a benefactor for you. Foreign governments are not as friendly as the local governments are. They are mostly hostile to the foreign investors. They can take over your assets. Assets could be taken over, like invested in Nigeria, which is a very politically unstable country. So there is high risk because foreign country, you are operating in a foreign country. And moreover, you are developing or constructing a sports center for FIFA World Cup, which is right now in danger because of COVID-19. You can add this as well. COVID-19 has put the project in danger. So there won't be any FIFA World Cup in 2020 and then the project could be wound up, right? So this is the political risk you can discuss from both countries' point of view. You can give your own points as well. And last, how firm would mitigate the risk? Mitigate means reduce. How we can reduce these risks? One way is to conduct an extensive research before investing such a huge amount of money. $80 million is a sizable investment. So you need to conduct research to assess the riskiness of the country. First, this is the first thing you can do. Research, extensive research to establish should we invest or should we not. Then second thing we can do is we can involve local partners. We might take some Qatari businesses, they will definitely take their cut. This is the normal thing there. But you can bring in the local partners in the project so that the risk could be shared. Involving domestic firms in some part of the project, that will reduce the risk. So local partnerships will reduce the risk. And third, you can give, even though two are sufficient, just one or two are sufficient. And then there is a third way also that you can get a political risk insurance. In case any change in political circumstances, you might be compensated for any loss that might arise in these situations. So that covers all these 3 points briefly and still comprehensively to get you sufficient and full credit. Next, define mutually exclusive projects. Identify, this is the first, you need to define what is the mutually exclusive project. Identify and explain which project would you recommend. And based upon the information, assuming both projects have the same level of political risk. Mutually exclusive projects mean if you take one project, you have to give up the other. Either or. Either A or B, not both. So when you accept one project, that means the other project will be rejected. So when one project is accepted, it precludes. It means it excludes, mind the word, it excludes the acceptance of another. So that's the point. That's how you define mutually exclusive. You take one project that excludes the acceptance of another. Enough. This is called mutually exclusive. Then it said, identify and explain which project would you recommend and what made you made the selection. Going back to the scenario, these are the two projects. As you can see, the payback for the second project is higher. IRR is higher and payback is shorter. This project will pay itself back within 3 years and IRR is comparatively 7% higher than the bridge project. So definitely you will go for the sports center project. The sports center is more preferable because it has a higher IRR and it has a lower payback period, justified with the numbers. Question 3 done. Then you go to the question number 4. What other additional information would be helpful to evaluate those projects? Explain your answer. We have just been given the IRR and payback. Payback is a crude method to evaluate the projects. In fact, payback alone, just payback alone is rarely the most suitable investment appraisal criteria. You have to use it in conjunction with other tools. IRR alone itself shouldn't be used. So the most suggested and the most sophisticated method, the NPV. Modern financial theory recommends and suggests that the project with the highest NPV should be selected. So we should have been given the NPV information. Why? We need to also explain the reason. IRR has certain drawbacks. First, that those projects with unconventional cash flows, they may have multiple IRRs. A project can have 4 IRRs. A project can have as many IRRs as there are changes in the direction of the flow of cash. Right? Moreover, payback period only focuses on the cutoff date, that we need to recover our investment within 3 years. What about after 3 years? Maybe the project may have very significant cash flows after the cutoff years. Right? Payback method also ignores the time value of money. So in other words, you have to just give 2 or a couple of disadvantages of IRR and payback and you're good to go. You just need to bring out NPV to be the better investment appraisal tool compared to the payback and IRR. That would be sufficient to justify the answer to this question. Next, question number 5. Said define hurdle rate and explain how does the firm develop its hurdle rate. Hurdle rate means the minimum acceptable rate of return on an investment project. How is it determined? There are many ways. We would have read the theory. So hurdle rate is the minimum acceptable rate of return on an investment and it is also referred to as the required rate of return. Risk adjusted rate of return, weighted average cost of capital, so many other ways. So the firm develops hurdle rate by using weighted average cost of capital. It may adjust the hurdle rate for riskier projects, like 2 projects of almost similar amount, project A, project B. A is comparatively riskier, B has less risk. So A might be, our hurdle rate is 10%, for example. So we might evaluate project B for 10% discount rate, but for A, since it's riskier, we might select 12% or maybe 13%, risk adjusted rate of return. So it could be adjusted upwards to incorporate the riskiness of the project. These are the 2 ways, weighted average cost of capital and risk adjusted rate of return. So that completes this essay type.